All right, welcome! Today we're diving into the fantastic opening of Ruskin Bond's The Thief story. We're going to see how a young but very professional thief lines up his next target, only to get himself into a situation he never ever saw coming.
Okay, so let's jump right in. From the very first sentence, we meet our narrator. And listen, this isn't just some kid who made a bad choice. He's a pro. He tells us flat out he's only 15, but he already sees himself as an experienced and, yeah, pretty successful thief. This just immediately sets the tone for a story told from a really unique point of view.
So the story gets started with what our narrator thinks is, just another job. He's out on the prowl, sizing up his next victim, and he spots someone who looks like the perfect, easy target.
Now let's break down these two characters, because you really got to get them from the start. On one hand, you have our narrator, a skinny 15-year-old who is all about calculation and street smarts. And on the other hand, there's Anil. He's 25, a writer, tall, lean, and, this is the most important part for our thief, he seems easygoing, kind, and simple. The perfect mark.
So Hari makes his move with a classic con artist trick. He sees Anil watching a wrestling match, and he just slides in with a little bit of flattery. It's a totally calculated line, right? Designed to get his target's guard down and just start a conversation.
So when Anil asks his name, we get line number 1. The narrator says, Harry Singh, but then he tells us right away that this is just an alias. He actually picks a new name every single month. Why? To stay one step ahead of the cops and anyone else he's ripped off before. See? This is not amateur hour. This is his professional routine.
Hari then goes for the direct approach. I want to work for you. But his plan just slams into a brick wall when Anil is totally honest and says, sorry, but I can't pay you. This forces Hari, the so-called experienced con man, to think really fast and change his whole strategy right there on the spot.
Okay, let's get to the next phase of the con. Since he completely misjudged the money situation, Hari has to pivot. And his next move? Well, it all comes down to a simple question and an even simpler lie.
And right here, in this moment, you see Hari shift his goal. If he can't get money, hey, he'll settle for a place to sleep and some food. So when Anil asks him, can you cook? Hari doesn't even blink. He lies again, locking in his spot in Anil's home, not with any actual skill, but with pure bluff.
Well, that lie falls apart almost instantly. The meal Hari makes is so awful that Anil doesn't even try it. He just gives the whole thing to a stray dog. Now, this should be it for Hari, right? This is the moment he gets caught and thrown out on the street.
But this is where things get really interesting. Look at Anil's reaction. He's just been lied to by a kid who served him inedible food. But instead of getting mad, he just laughs. He's not clueless, he totally sees how ridiculous the whole thing is. And this one act of kindness, of choosing to laugh instead of getting angry, is the first real crack in Hari's cynical view of the world.
Anil's reaction just completely turns Hari's expectations upside down. This is not the world of suckers and victims that he's used to. This kindness, it leads to a twist that changes their whole dynamic.
Instead of punishing him for the lies, Anil offers Hari something way more valuable. He just pats him on the head and says he'll teach him. This is such a huge act of grace that Hari just doesn't know what to do with it.
And Anil's lessons start off practical, how to actually cook a decent meal. But they go way beyond that really fast. He teaches Hari how to write his own name, and then he promises to teach him how to write full sentences, and even how to do basic math. He's literally handing him the keys to a brand new world.
And right here, this is a perfect example of a key takeaway, especially if you're studying this story. If you get a short answer question asking what Hari learned from Anil, this is it. It's not just a list of skills, it's the foundation for a totally different life, a respectable life he'd probably never even thought about before.
And Hari, who's always thinking about the angle, immediately gets how powerful this gift is. He understands that being able to read and write isn't just for fun, it's a tool for success. In his mind, writing like an educated man could open doors to achievements way bigger than anything he could ever steal.
So this brings us to the central conflict of the whole story. Hari sees the potential in this new path, but at his core, he's still a thief. Can one person's trust and kindness really reform a boy who's built his entire life around lying and stealing?
Well, the short-term answer is a definite no. While he's working for Anil, Hari goes out to buy supplies every day, and he skims a little off the top. He makes a profit, as he calls it, of about 1 rupee a day. So yeah, his old habits are definitely still there.
But here's what's so fascinating. Hari's pretty sure that Anil knew about this little daily theft. He knew, but he never said a word. He just didn't seem to mind. And that makes Anil an even more complicated character. He's not some fool. It seems like he's making an active choice to keep trusting Hari, even with these small betrayals.
And really, that's the question that just hangs over this whole setup, isn't it? What is Anil's deal? This is not a simple story about a con artist and his mark. It's a really human story about how messy and complicated trust is, about the power of kindness, and about whether a person can ever truly change.